Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of 10 for the Chairman. This is where I take 10 questions from the subscribers. The subscribers, in case you don't know it, are a subset of our community that contribute extra money every month to allow us to do enhanced community content. So this show, Around the Verse, we do Jump Point Magazine, which is 50 to 70 pages of sort of really sort of in-depth how things are built, how we're designing some stuff and backgrounds on parts of the universe or manufacturers. Also, we do sort of inside CIG pieces, so we go to a different one of our studio locations or deep dive down onto different mechanics or features. So all that is made possible by the subscribers contributing money for the benefit of everybody, and then also for a little reward, we do kind of fun things, flair for the hangers and stuff for subscribers. But thank you to subscribers, and obviously thank you to backers, because without all of you guys, I wouldn't be sitting here doing this. So this is where I take 10 questions and I answer them to the best of my ability. So I will be doing that. I hope you guys, by the way, had fun on the live stream that we had on Friday. I think it went pretty well. We're heading into Christmas now, so this is going to be my last 10 for the Chairman before the new year. So hopefully I've got some good questions from Ben and James. So here we go. First question comes from Roland, Desk Chain Gun, which I think I'm saying correctly, hopefully, who asks, how would you compare your vision for sharing information across ships, e.g. a Hornet tracker sharing info to a CNC center on an allied cap ship, to sharing information across crew stations? Will signal/signature visibility, transmit/receive equipment, interception, encryption, etc. be considerations? So definitely signal and signature will be, how far you can sort of broadcast will be a factor, like the power of your arrays and the power you put to it. Also, your CPU power will sort of allow an encryption and the level of encryption that can happen. So you'll definitely have transmitting and receiving equipment, and we will definitely be having the ability to do sort of interception and encryption, and it's that'll actually be one of the aspects of gameplay that you would get on the bigger ships. So someone could sort of focus on that in terms of communication, disrupting the opponent's communication, maybe even cracking the coded channels to hear what people are up to. So it all should be pretty cool, and again, adding another level of sort of that team and cooperative gameplay in a PvP setting, which I think would be pretty damn cool. So we're planning definitely to have a fair amount of that stuff in the long run. Okay, next question comes from Silent Ruin, who asks, I've heard a friend can log into an NPC position, but it brings up the question, since I had an NPC for the position, how does a player get paid for doing that job? Is the NPC paid in escrow, and then if a player subs in for X time, then they get X slice of the salary? It doesn't really work that way. So what it does is you'll hire a crew, and your crew will obviously need to get paid for doing the job, and so you'll pay them whatever is agreed to pay them. Now you can, while you're flying out in space, invite some of your friends to sort of take over or control the crew, but that doesn't mean they're going to get paid what the crew is getting paid. They're just basically becoming, I don't know, better AI would be maybe a way to think about it. It's sort of a kind of a cheat, or we call it sort of maybe Matrix moment where your friend can dare and take over the NPC, just so you can fly with your friends in co-op without having to like go to a planet and everyone meet up and all get on a ship, which you can also do, but this is really just sort of like, I'm flying in space, like, hey guys, I'm doing this mission, are you guys not doing anything right now? Do you want to come in and control my various crew on my ship? And they can say yes or no, and that's the line, but they aren't going to get paid for the job. The NPCs themselves still have to get paid, which is really just sort of a running cost, right? So if you have NPC crew, you've got to be making enough money to pay for your crew, pay for your fuel, pay for your repairs, etc., which is kind of like real life. Okay, next question comes from Siberian Tiger, who asks, how will social status play into the game? Will there be a benefit to having earned citizenship? Will there be planets we can't visit without citizenship, or limitations on what we can do without citizenship? Well, social status will definitely be a part of the game. I mean, there's going to be, there's a pretty in-depth, the way to think about it would be I don't know whether you want to call it a status rating, but you certainly will have we'll track your relationships with various groups and how they hold you in regard and vice versa. And citizenship is one of the aspects. So there will definitely be some stuff that having citizenship will potentially allow you access to that maybe you wouldn't have if you had citizenship. And again, there may be some areas where having citizenship is a liability, and like in the outlaw worlds, maybe they don't want to really be dealing with a citizen of the UEE. It all sort of depends, and so but the idea is, depending on sort of your various kind of organizational relationships, some of which against the ones that are already part of our universe, Merchants Guild or Mercenaries Guild or the UEE itself, and some of them for the player-created organizations will sort of depend on who you interact with, how they'll reply, how they'll deal with you, and whether they'll give you access. So if you're in good standing with a Mercenaries Guild, then perhaps they invite you into their guild house, but if you're not, they won't let you in. And that definitely applies to citizenship. So you'll definitely get access to some stuff as a citizen that you wouldn't get without. Maybe you can buy some stuff that you couldn't get if you were a citizen, and vice versa. Like I said, on the flip side, there may be stuff that you can't get if you're a citizen that if you're not, or on the sort of more grey side of the law, then you would get access to. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, next question comes from Julian Delph-Icky, who I think asked the question last week. How will jump point discovery mechanic work? Is the jump point discovery expected to be real-time flight maneuvering, or is it strictly based on sensors and electronics that can map the jump point? So you need to be, basically you would be needing scanning for the jump point. I think there's going to be some level of, it's not just automatic, you'll have to sort of be checking frequencies and kind of honing in on stuff when you detect it. And then when you figure it out and triangulate like the point of entry, so to speak, then you're going to have to fly it. The first time, if no one's flown it before, you don't have a record of it, you're going to have to fly it, and that will be a whole sort of kind of skill-based flight mechanic. So we still haven't really prototyped that out fully, but the concept of it is you're sort of going to be flying down through the equivalent of like a huge breaking wave off the north shore of Hawaii or something, where if you've got to go down through the funnel and essentially surf it exactly correctly on the path, as long as you keep to the path, you get to the end of it and then you're out. And depending on the size of it, the length of it, will have turbulence and a whole bunch of other stuff. Once you get to the end and you've tracked that and recorded that in your your navigation computer, then you can automatically go back and do it again. And some of those will be more difficult than others, and also the navigation computer you have itself will, some are better at recording jumps, some aren't, don't have the capabilities of doing the more complicated ones. So that will all be equipment you'd want to sort of kit out when you're an explorer and trying to find jump points. Okay, next question comes from Drum, who asks, can someone resample or redo a jump point sequence that would be faster or less of a thrill ride than the origin data created? Or once it is accomplished, that will be the only way to do it ever? I don't know. You know what? That's actually a really interesting idea or thought. Our current plan is basically you do it, there's one path to do it, and that's it. But it would actually be kind of interesting that there is maybe more than one way to do it, and maybe one way or another way cuts your jump time down. So that would be something I think we would probably play with when we're prototyping all the jump stuff, which is sort of an up-and-coming task that we have for the persistent universe early next year in terms of sort of the exact play mechanics of it. Okay, next question comes from Vic, who asks, how will the players be able to establish relationships with NPCs? Will NPCs ever initiate an interaction with the player, perhaps coming to them with a job, as suggested by the Miss Freelancer commercial? Yes, I think I've actually answered this last week, so not exactly this question, but essentially the same question. Yes, NPCs will initiate interaction in some cases with the player, and they will come to them with jobs. not necessarily as suggested by the Miss Freelancer commercial, but jobs are put out there on sort of our big sort of kind of jobs board by the economy system, which is essentially the AI. Other players can also do it. Players can pick up the jobs. Other NPCs can pick up the jobs. And our goal in the game is to have our NPCs and AI be active, so they're not just reactive in terms of you go to some guy that's the guy that gives missions in a bar and you have to walk up to him and talk to him. He says, oh, I've got a mission for you. Well, there'll be some cases where people or an AI could potentially seek you out and say, hey, I've got a job for you, do you want to take it, versus it being reactive. And that's actually kind of a strong underlying goal of what we want to do with the NPCs, to make them sort of feel a bit more real and living. They have their own goals and agendas on a more global basis, where they're not just focused on the what they're doing right now, that, which is what I call sort of tactical AI, where they're great at combat, they can hide behind cover, they can try and flank you, but anything beyond that instance of combat, they've got no sense of what's their goal today, what's their goal this year, what do they want to do? They want to be the best pirate or the best trader. So we're working to have what we call meta AI that sort of does more of that kind of stuff. All right, next question comes from ERK, who asks, will we see longer range smart weapons both for attacking ships and smaller targets that are comparable with present-day weapons, i.e. Harpoon, Tomahawk, TASM, Phoenix, etc.? I think we are probably going to have longer range stuff once we have the large world stuff in, which is the 64-bit precision for space. Right now we're pretty limited because getting more than about 8 or 10 Ks away from the origin starts to give floating point errors and the sort of world and rendering, which isn't great. But yeah, the idea is once the large world is in, which is 64-bit stuff, some of the bigger ships, multi-crew ships, that's kind of one of the things we're waiting to get the multi-crew ship going. There's a whole range of long-range scanners and all that kind of stuff that comes into play, and so there probably will be some longer-range smart weapons. Not sure there'll be vast amounts of that, because it's not that much fun to have all combat beyond visual range, but there definitely will be some cases of some stuff that will allow you at least to engage at a longer range than say maybe you do right now in Arena Commander. Okay, next question comes from Jack Knife, who asks, with the recently announced modular approach to ships, are you and the team considering a simple plug-and-play approach, like the current method of configuring small ships in Arena Commander, or would swapping out internal modules be a larger undertaking, perhaps requiring a machine shop and several in-game days of downtime for the ship being reconfigured? Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure that we've really decided on sort of how quickly or how long it takes you to switch out the modules. I mean, as you said, in Arena Commander right now, you can switch out your weapons or missiles or other items fairly quickly on a ship. So on a bigger ship, I don't know whether we're going to keep it at that level of speed, or perhaps you say, oh, I want to reconfigure my Retaliator into this setup, and they say, okay, that's fine, and that will take a day, sir, and come back. So we haven't made a decision on that. The default would be probably the plug-and-play approach, but that's sort of a game mechanic and a gameplay decision that we're sort of putting off till we get it working and sort of what feels right, because there's sort of pros and cons. I mean, you kind of want the game to be fun. You don't want to sit, to be 100% realistic, where you always have to watch, like the loading time for cargo or changing out equipment or repairing a ship are realistic, because you want to get back out in space and do all this stuff. So you could have a ship that's completely beaten up pretty badly, and in real life maybe that would take months to fix. Well, obviously you don't want to be not playing the game for months. You probably want to have some amount of time for it to get fixed, but maybe it would be months. And so that's kind of the approach we would probably take with a modular approach to ship. So maybe it would take a bit more time to ship out the modular, switch out modular stuff, but it wouldn't be equivalent to what it would really be in real life. It would be probably enough time to allow you to go around and get a drink in the bar and have a few things that you can get done before taking off again to head out to space. Okay, next question comes from Eno, who says, or asks, how will transportation of ships be handled? For instance, if I am a trader and I want to bring a few Hornets to sell in a war zone, will they be transported in parts allowing them to fit in my cargo, or they have to be transported fully assembled? Well, I think right now they're going to have to be transported fully assembled. We're not really considering breaking down ships to component parts and shipping them, which is I guess, kind of the way it happens in the real world. But for us, I think you would have to say if you want to bring some Hornets to sell, then you would have to have a ship that you could load them up into to take them along with you, or you would have to hire some NPCs to sort of fly the ships for you to the location you want to take them with, which is another way, by the way, say Fightercraft or other stuff actually gets delivered to people, and then you would just have to ship the NPC pilots or the other player pilots back to where they picked up the job from. So that's how we would be transporting ships in the current world. So you can hire NPCs or get other players to fly them for you, or you can load them onto a much bigger ship and take them whole. All right, last question comes from Rodent Rascal, who asks, will a merchant player be able to bribe the character slot NPC crew of their competitor to mutiny against their boss? That's a really great suggestion. We're not planning to do that at the moment. So it's cool. Probably take it under advisement when we got all the other million things we got to get done for the persistent universe. That we may potentially down the road have fun with morale and mutiny and some other aspects for the NPC crew. I mean, we are definitely planning that the NPC crew themselves will have hidden stats. I mean, not necessarily exposed for players, but there'll definitely be stats behind the scene that rate like how good of a shot they are, or what their morale is, or what their competency is, and that would affect their sort of AI ratings. That's how we do enemy aces and stuff like that. So obviously the better NPCs probably cost more money, and then if you're fighting with an NPC and you win more battles, then the NPC themselves will be sort of getting better and leveling up. So we have that kind of tracking stuff in there, and longer term we can probably have fun things with the morale and having a mutiny and all the rest of stuff, but that's not a 1.0 function or requirement or deliverable, so to speak. Okay, there you go. That's the 10 questions for this week. It's a short week for us. We're off on the 24th, and we won't be coming back until after New Year's Day. So, I'm for all of those out there that celebrate the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, and all the rest of the holidays out there. Then I wish you happy holidays. It's been an amazing year this year. Thank you so much for your support. I'm really proud of all the stuff the teams have done all around the world working on the game, and I'm really proud of the community out there that has supported us to increasingly great heights. We really appreciate your support and enthusiasm, and we are going to deliver you something pretty amazing. We appreciate your patience, because we do realize that all this is taking longer than everyone would like it to take, but that is sort of the case when you are really trying to do something great and do it the best you possibly can. So I'd like to say thank you, happy holidays to everybody, and I will see you in the new year. Hey guys, thanks for watching 10 for the Chairman. If you guys would like to see more episodes, go here. If you guys would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel and always keep up to date with all our video content, go here. And if you guys would like to watch episodes of Around the Verse, go here please. And I will see you in the verse.